Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Parth Shukla, and I'm basically a final year undergrad in computer science and technology at ITM University. So today we are going to talk about rate limiting attack and how to bypass 429s. So 429 is basically a status code for too many requests. I hope everyone can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay. Okay, so I'll be starting with two slides of theory and then we'll be moving on to practical sessions. There is not much of theory here, so you'll enjoy. So basically what is rate limit algorithm? Rate limit algorithm is used to check if the user session has limit based on the information in the session cache. So if I'm able to make 100 requests per minute for a forget password, then there is a vulnerability there's a vulnerability of rate limiting. So they have not put a limit on a request that is being sent to the server. So in the case of client made too many requests, the status code is 429. So 429 is basically too many requests, and it says that you can't bypass the rate limit. Okay, so what can no limit lead to? Why it is P4 in bug crowd taxonomy? Why not P5? So email bomb hack may create denial of service condition against the mail software. So let us take a scenario in which you are having a software or a web app which does not have any rate limit. So if I'm the attacker and you are the victim, I'll send 1,000 or 1 lakh mail to your inbox, which can lead to mailbox failure. Like you might your important mails might go down below the rate limited mails, so and your mailbox will be full, so you can't receive any more mails. So this is why it is P4 vulnerability in bug crowd taxonomy. So that's all for the practical. Now we'll go with the that's all for theory. We'll go with the practical session now. So there are basically three main endpoints that we can abuse using the rate limit attack. First is the forget password, which is everywhere on every login page. Second is a send verification mail, and third is a comment section. Now these three are the major ones, but according to your creativity, you can create more. So bug bounty and hacking is all about creativity. What others can't see and what you can see makes a lot of difference. So today we'll be taking forget password as our endpoint. So requirement for this attack are a device which is obvious, an internet connection, burp suit, and mental presence right now. Okay, so I will just say the steps now and we'll be performing it after I complete the step sections. So we'll select the endpoint here. He will take forget password. I'll enter the victim email address and intercept the request in burp suite. If you don't know what is burp suite or how to configure burp suite, you can go to YouTube channel. I'll be telling that in the last, and you can find that. Then send the intercept code to repeater to see the success code. Now, what is the success code? Success code is basically, can you see here in response, you have got 302 found. So every time you do an attack in intruder, you should get a 302 status code so that you can identify that the attack is done successfully. If you get 200 or 429 or 302, 429 or 202 anything, it means there is some problem in attack and you won't get any email. And we'll send the request to intruder as well. And there are three injection point. Now, what is injection point? Injection point is a main or an important keyword when it comes to bug bounty or ethical hacking. Injection point is basically a point where your payload will be executed. Now, the next term will be what is a payload. So payload are the scripts or a sentence or something that makes the server unusual, makes like the server will be working in an unusual manner. That is a payload. So we'll be trying with, so Okay, I'll go to reset password. So this was the first step here. I hope everyone can see, right?
Yeah, everyone can see.
Okay. So this is the first step. Now I'll write the email address and I'll intercept the request. Now, when you use the burp suite, you might get too many requests here. Like if you have 4 to 5 tabs open, you'll get plenty of requests, right? So you need to do forward or drop and you need to select the specific request that you need, right? So first we'll send this to repeater, the second step, and we'll see the status code. So here you can see that it is 302 found. So if I start attack in intruder, it should give me 302 found so that I can guess that the attack was successful. I'll send this to intruder and I'll do the intercept is off. Okay. So here comes the three main part. You can see here email parameter, null payload, and parameter queue. Now, why these three only? Why not cookie? Why not host? Why not you content length or something? So we need to select a path in the response which is static and which does not change with the user or the request. So email address will be constant when I do the attack, right? My email won't change. Null payload means you are not putting anything, you are just sending request as it is. Null means void, right? So it is a void payload. And queue parameter is this one. So this parameter does not make any sense in the rate limit attack. So you can do a number payload here. I'll show you all three methods here one by one. So first of all, we'll go with email parameter. So I'll just do copy. I'll copy this one. Now you can see here that my email parameter is basically URL encoded. The @ symbol has been converted to $40. I'll even show you this one. I'll send this to, okay, anyways, I'll copy this. I'll go to decoder and I'll do decode as URL. So you can see the @ symbol was converted to $40. It means that server is doing URL encoding here. So I'll just add here. So at first you need to clear all the payload. So when you send for the first time, you'll get something like this. This green color basically shows that what are your injection point or what can be your injection point, right? But you don't want your payload to be one of them. So what you'll do, you just clear this out and you'll add an injection point here. So it says that my injection point is this. Now we'll go to payload. Payload will be my email address, which I have copied. So I have copied 50 times and I'll do start attack. Let's see what we get. Okay, we got 302 found. Found. So 302 means it was our success code and attack is basically running. Now I'll tell you something about this zero. What does that zero means? It means that if there is no payload here, it will give me content length of 610. Okay. But if a payload is working, then content length might change. It is not changing here because attack is successful. Content length might change, which will lead to some other error or some other response. Okay, so you need to check that what does the content length matters. So I'll go to my email. Okay, we'll wait here. Verify. Oops. I'm sorry, just a sec. I'm sorry, guys. See, you're receiving the emails here, 13, 16, you'll get 20. Okay, so why didn't I receive at the first go? Because I think my email address was not registered. So maybe that's why. So you can see here, I got 23 emails from dashboard. Now, what can we do worse in this, right? Or every time you can't just copy and do the hell lot of work here. So there is another thing known as null payload. So I'll just clear all and I'll choose any random position because it is null payload. So nothing would get attached there. Now here, the important thing is you get two options: generate dash number of payloads or continue indefinitely. That means if I write here 50 payloads will be generated, and continuous means it will be continue until you stop or you press the cancel button. So I'll do 50. I'll do start attack. I'll just delete this. You see, I've started receiving. So this is how rate limiting works. See, okay, it is giving me 23 because the last time payload also count, the which I deleted and after I received. So this is the rate limiting. Now what if I'll close this. What if I do continuous indefinitely and I go to sleep for 7 straight hours? So the victim will get hell lot of emails for 7 continuous hours. So you can think how many emails it will get, right? So this was the second position, and the third one is the Q1. So this was the parameter. Now I'll do here numbers. So number starting from 0 to 100, and step means how many number you want to sweep. If I do 2, then it will give me 51 payloads, but I'll do 1 here, so I'll get 101, or else I'll do a 20 for faster count. I'll start it. See, you're getting here 302 and length 610. So the here numbers are the payload. The Q value will be changing from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 till 20. And I'll be receiving email as well. You can see. So this is how rate limiting works. Now, I can't show the bypass technique here because I don't have this disclosure permission right now. So how we can bypass 429s? That was the main question. So these are the headers. You can just write it down and you can take the screenshot of this. So these are the headers which help you to bypass the 429, that is too many requests. Okay, so you can use multiple headers at a time. So it is not compulsory that you need to use X origin IP, X forwarded for at one time. You can use all this at once as well to bypass that. And it is much more recommended that you use multiple headers. Now, what is this IP here? So IP you can write at 127.0.0.1, which is the local IP. So every time you send a request, the X forwarded, if you use X forwarded for or X originate IP, X originate IP means it will tell the server that from where the request is originating. So every time you send here, it will give that, yes, my request is originating from local server, so I should accept this, right? And second IP you can use here is the IP of the domain. This one. This one, or 127.0.0.1. So you can use these two IPs here and try if 429 is bypass. And trust me, if you get bypass, you got to earn a lot, because if one endpoint is bypass, all endpoints can be bypassed. So verification mail, comment section, forgot password. So if you can bypass the forgot password thing, you can report it for verification mail as well. So this was about rate limiting attack. So there is a time left, so we'll discuss bypassing of 2FA, that is multiple factor authentication, and SPF record. So do you guys have doubt in rate limiting?
Bro, queries will be discussed at the end of the session as I am unlocking their mics at that time only.
Okay. So we'll start with 2FA bypass. That is multi-factor authentication. You guys know that many websites now have started multi-factor authentication to authenticate the user. Even Google Pay has started. So what if you can bypass this? Like the code is wrong, but still you can log in. So I'll just I'll just write the steps here. First, you need to log in with correct code and intercept that request. Now you will think that how can I get the correct code of the victim? You can't get the correct code of the victim, but you can get the correct code for yourself, right? So if Zomato is having 2FA, if you are the victim and I'm the hacker, what I'll do, I'll first get the request and response to that request of my account or my OTP, and I'll replace the response to that request to your OTP, right? So I can just have the account takeover vulnerability as well with 2FA bypass. So you can change the vulnerabilities here, that is 2FA bypass and account takeover. Just a sec. Okay, so we'll see an example of 2FA bypass. I'm not sure whether it will be bypass or not, but we can just understand how it works and what are the steps to do this. So I'll go to a website here. So first you have created the account. Now you will be asked that if you want to set a 2FA or not, or if they don't ask, you will set because you need to secure an account, right? Sorry for the slow internet connectivity. Yeah, just net connection. I'm sorry, really sorry. Okay, so here we have two-factor authentication, and I'll use email as the authenticator. So you can see they have sent me a 2FA code here. Yeah, so here's the code, and I will intercept the request. Now, how will I know that this is the request I was looking for? So I'll copy the code in the search bar and I'll see where it is reflected. So you can see here, there is a code reflected. So what I'll do is I'll just capture the response to this request, right? So I'll do intercept response to this request. So you can see here, I got 200 okay. That means my code was correct. So I'll copy this response. I'll go to Notepad and I'll paste this. So this is the correct response that I was looking for, and I'll replace this response to the response with wrong OTP. Okay, so you can see here two-factor authentication is activated. Now I'll try to turn this off. So they have sent me a code again, but this time I won't use the right code. I'll do the incorrect code here. It was 6-digit code, right? So this is the not correct code. I'll just tell you guys. So the correct code was 577-176. We have written 123455. So I'll just intercept this one. I'll copy this. I'll paste it in search bar and look for the correct request. So this is the request we are looking for. I'll again do intercept response to this request. Forward, forward, forward. Okay, so you can see here I am getting 200 okay here, but here you can see authorization error, cannot fetch info with this credential. This means that my credentials were wrong. So what I'll do is I'll just replace with the code I have. And if it is disabled, then the vulnerability is there. Okay, so you can see this one is disabled. So there is a 2FA bypass vulnerability here. So what is the exploit scenario here? A user logs in into a cyber cafe or on laptop and forgets to log out. So you can easily turn off the 2FA with the wrong code. So you don't need correct code, you don't need his email access, you don't need his phone access, you don't need his Google Authenticator access. You can just turn this off with with the wrong code and correct response. But you might be thinking, how will I get the correct response? So that is not a rocket science. You can go to the private browsing, open Bitdefender or any website you are hunting on, make your account, take the response with the correct code and replace with this one. But you need to check, in many times there are parameters which you need to change. So what if there was email parameter here which says that this belongs to my account, right? So when you hunt or when you want to do the 2FA bypass, you need to change this email address to the victim's email address to check if this was working or not. So this is how 2FA bypass works. And this is, I guess, P3 or P4 vulnerability. And when you change this to CSRF or account takeover, you might get, you will surely get P3 vulnerability here. So this is how 2FA bypass works. And 2FA bypass can be on SMS, phone, OTP, email, authenticator app, anything, right? So this is the great vulnerability to hunt, and you'll always fun while doing this because the steps are so simple, and but the vulnerability or chances of getting bug bounty is very high here. Or when the program is starting, when a program is new, like we have a bug crowd program here, Unilever, but the dashboard is out of scope. So you can just try there and report it explicitly, like not on bug crowd. You can just go to support@unilever.com and you can send them this and they'll revert you back. So this is how you can do hunting. Now, this was the main website where the 2FA was asked, but you can always try to recon the website and you can try on subdomain whether they're asking or not, because every subdomain will have different coding. That's why we find bugs on subdomain rather than main domain, right? So I urge you all that always go for subdomain rather than main domain. So that was about 2FA bypass. Now we'll go for SPF record, which is very, very easy, and DMARC record. SPF is P5 in Buckrow taxonomy, but DMARC record is P3 or P4. Today evening, me and my one friend got P3, but it was a duplicate report, so we got only the points. So how do you look for SPF records? So Peterman is good for SPF record, but this is P5 vulnerability, but you can always report this for the betterment of the website. So what is basically SPF record? What does it help? So in a layman language, SPF record is basically a type of record which can identify which mails are coming from legit email address and which are coming from wrong email address. So if a company does not have a SPF record, the spam email will go to the inbox of the victim, while as when the company is having a SPF record, it will go to the spam mail, right? So spam mail basically identifies the phishing mail. So I'll show you both the cases where company is having a SPF record and company is not having a SPF record, right? So we'll first complete with SPF record, then we'll go to the DMARC record. Okay, so first we'll try that company is having a SPF record. That is our case one. So we'll go to google.com. Okay, sorry. Okay, so you can see there's a valid SPF record here, but I'll try to send a fake email. Okay, so this is a fake mailer. Please, please, please do not do a black hat or when you are going for bug bounty or you want to step in the world of cybersecurity. So I am appreciating this the community here. They are doing a great work by providing the sessions like this. I've also attended many sessions at Null Ahmedabad or NullCon Goa, and they were literally amazing, and you get to learn a lot. So I'll send here admin at Google from admin at google.com to victim email address. The subject is hello, you won $, right? So I'll send this. So email was sent successfully, but it won't appear in my inbox. Let's wait. What we can take here? eBay is having. Okay, we'll just wait till this arrives. Okay, till then we'll take the case 2. So the case 2 is what if it is not having a valid SPF record. So I'll take here test.com. Are they having any SPF record? No valid SPF record found. Now I'll try to send from test@test.com to my email address, subject hello, you won, and I'll do send. I'm not sure why email are not coming. It will take time, but it will definitely arrive once. We can try one more thing here. admin@anything.com. Yeah, so see, there was no valid SPF record for JSD and FISD, and email appeared in my inbox. Now we'll try one more time. I'm not sure why google.com is not coming. We can try tesla.com. Okay, so they are having. Okay, so one more thing. Yeah, I got it. So you can see here dash all. So this was a catch here. If you have dash all and you have tilde or, this makes a lot of difference. So you need to report this if you have tilde all. If you have tilde or, then you can send a mail here, and when you have hyphen all, it says that every mail, every wrong email will be blocked, right? So if I am having a SPF record or not, it will be blocked if my mail is not registered to the white IP address or whitelist IP address of tesla.com. Okay, so we can try here. Okay, so these guys are having SPF record. We'll still try here. I guess it is working till now. See, they are having valid SPF record, and thus my email went to the spam mail, but not the inbox. So this is the major difference why company have SPF record. Now there's similar uh, thing, DMARC record, which is just like SPF record, but SPF record is outdated, so it is P5 vulnerability. Whereas when you report for the DMARC, you'll get P4 or P3 definitely. So in DMARC, okay, I tried for etc.com last time. So in DMARC, what you need to see, you need to go to MX toolbox and you'll see a DMARC policy not enabled, but it is ticked, right? So it is perfectly all right. Now we'll go to okay, so you can report this on Tesla if it is not out of scope, that DMARC policy is not enabled and they need to check this to stop the phishing. So DMARC policy plays a major role when it comes to phishing. And yes, you always need to see the out of scope and in scope. I have got 4 or 5 minus due to I reported out of scope, but when your vulnerability is very high, or you need to, like, you did a reverse shell or you got the access to the internal server, you can always report it. If even if it is out of scope, you'll get bounty for that as well, because internal information is never out of scope. If you are getting something, if you are always redirected to a evil page, you can always report it. So basically this was all about rate limiting, 2FA bypass, and SPF record. I know SPF record was quite boring, but trust me, you can always go for DMARC record and report that. That is a P4 vulnerability and you'll get a bug for that. So thank you very much. So you can follow us on our Insta page, that is Bug Access, or YouTube channel Bug Access, and be a part of our community. So that's all. Any questions?
Guys, I have unmuted your mics. For any queries, you can just unmute the mic and ask.
Bro, how did you exploit the SPF for getting points? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
Bro, how did you exploit this SPF records to get points in background?
Okay. So what is the exploit scenario for SPF record? So
Yeah.
okay,
You're telling about reverse shell and all kind of stuff. How can we do this reverse?
okay, reverse shell is basically a different topic and I can't talk about it here. It will take a long time. Reverse shell is altogether different topic. It is not related to SPF record. So if you want to get an exploit scenario of SPF record, it is basically if I am the owner of the company and one of my friend is client and you are the hacker. I do not have any SPF record. So you can impersonate me yourself as a owner of the company. So if I have a company known as XYZ, my email address will be ceo_parth@xyz.com. So any mail from ceo_parth@xyz.com will go to inbox of the victim email because I don't have the SPF record. So what you can do is you can go to fake mailer, which I showed here, or any other fake mailer. You can enter my email address and send to the victim saying, impersonating that you are a CEO of the company and mail has been given or sent by me.
How
And
to get the internal details, bro? Internal details of the company through SPF.
Oh, you can't get internal details of the company through SPF. It is not possible.
Hello, bro.
Yeah.
So this is one type of phishing.
Yeah, this is one type of phishing. Phishing and spamming both.
Yeah, okay, I can get it.
No one's talking
Okay.
about hyphen and that all thing, no?
Okay, so basically hyphen, they have a list known as whitelist IP address, in which the internal IP address of the companies are there, and any email coming from that IP address would be counted as legit. So sorry. Okay, hyphen all and tilde or hyphen means they will reject every mail coming from IP address other than the whitelist IP address, and tilde may sometimes allow you to pass the bypass the whitelist IP address. So even if you find that tilde IP address, you can just report to it to a company saying that please change tilde to the hyphen sign. I have got points on this on the earlier Buckrout taxonomy, but in new Buckrout taxonomy, they have given SPF record as P5 as the mark record were introduced.
Hello, bro.
Yeah.
Actually, now I am doing 12th.
Sorry.
Actually, now I'm doing 12th. So, which should I choose, like in BTech in cybersecurity or BTech in IT? Which would be better for a ethical hacking career, like independent security researcher?
If I was you, I would go for BE in cybersecurity.
Okay.
Or
And
final that you want to have a career in cybersecurity, you can definitely go for BE in cybersecurity.
okay, thank you, bro.
Okay.
And can you name the colleges which are giving the cybersecurity course as their 4 years program?
Okay, my university is giving one. I'm not sure, like, which state are you from?
I'm from Telangana, bro.
Okay, so I don't know.
Can you tell your university?
It's ITM University.
ITM.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have started BE in cybersecurity, which is a great course there.
Okay, sir, I just have a single doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, so the point is that at most of the times when you are using this fake mailer, mk.cz or any kind of Python script, then what is happening in my case is that although sometimes with the same, like as you have just told up here, that if a company or if a domain name is not having DMARC record, but anyhow, the mail is actually going into the, instead of a spam folder, it is directly going into the inbox folder. And in rest of the cases it can also go in the spam case. So why this is like I am getting up a bit confused that most of the times it is getting in inbox, and then other times when I am just trying with the same context, it is going into spam.
Okay, so what you can do, you can just check that if they are having tilde all or hyphen all. So if you are having tilde all, that might be the reason that you can just send a mail to inbox.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Any other thing?
Bro, could you please explain that headers? How to use the headers?
Okay, how to use header? Okay, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So, so I'll take this header here. X forwarded for. I'll go to intruder, and before starting an attack, I'll just enter the header here and write down IP address, which I told you. You can go for 127 or the actual IP address of the server. So what happens is that you might get 429 if you're not using the headers, but when you use the header, it says that the request is coming from the server. 127 is basically a place that does not exist. So you might have heard the code that there is no place like 127.0.0.1, right? So you can always try this, but it is always recommended that you use multiple headers from here, right? So you can use all the headers in one attack as well, which will help you to bypass the 429 if there is a vulnerability. You can see I'll just write here. I'll start it. Okay, I'm getting a 302 because the attack is working properly. There was no 429. So if you ever encounter 429 while you are attacking or the rate limit, you can always send a text to me, or the YouTube group or the Insta group will revert you as soon as possible. And you can join us as well. And I am very grateful to the community which has hosted this. It is a great thing, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Hey, bro. What is the difference between SPF record and DMARC record?
Okay, so SPF record are basically outdated. Why? Because there are a lot of issue in SPF record. You can just Google that up. DMARC record are the new one, which says that the phishing and the whitelist IP address are more of a concern in DMARC. And DMARC record is for every project that a company does, or it is reviewed, or it is published, right? So SPF record was for one domain, while as DMARC record was for every project or every website they build or every link they have. So you can't just go for domain, you can go for subdomain as well in DMARC record. I can send a fake mail through a subdomain which is of the same company having a valid DMARC record. So that is why DMARC record has much more importance than SPF record.
Okay, sir, can you
Okay,
please
bro.
just
Do
in
you
a
provide internships, bro?
Who, me? No. I don't do internship. Yes,
Okay, bro.
Okay, sir.
we can
which
definitely work together.
Sorry.
Okay, sir.
Okay, bro.
Sir, just a single last question. Can you just introduce in a single line what is about DKIM, that like domain key identification?
I am not sure about DMKI. Can you give me a day? I can revert you back on Insta if possible. With
Definitely, sir. Definitely, sir.
just text me on Insta. I'll definitely revert you back by tonight or tomorrow early morning.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure,
bro,
sir. I just pinged you up.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, bro. Can you say which university you were studying?
I'm from ITM Universe.
Okay, bro, thank you. And that was a nice session.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, sir, I have a question. How can we create a phishing page that will look like a forgotten password, and we can send victim by email that someone is trying to access your account? How can we create a phishing page like that?
I'm not sure if I can share this or not. I'll just ask the host if I can be unethical or give unethical
Oh,
information.
sure, bro. No issue.
Is the host here? I'm not sure. Hello?
Yeah, you can share. No, don't worry.
Okay. So the phishing page is basically what you can do is you can go to, like, if you're going for facebook.com, I'll show you. So